TV.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight in TV land? It's your boy DC, and this is Out of the Fog, a local matters bop that goes right across the province and around the world, actually, talking about all the cool people from here at home doing all the cool things. Tonight, it's the Newfoundland Pony Society and two VIPs coming through, Luke and Michelle, talking all about the incredible history and how you can support. And then we have Ronda, Tulk of the Atlantic Chamber, letting us all know about how grassroots help for the business community and the community in general happens right at home, and we're looking for you to contribute to that. And then we're going to finish the show with the incredible Dr. Mike Wahl. He's talking about season 3 of Health Explored, plus his brand new book with Breakwater and everything else under the sun that he's doing to help promote and move the needle on wellness right here at home and around the world, as you're going to find out. All this tonight and more on Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog. Like I told you before the break, we're hanging out with the coolest people, talking about the coolest things. And make no mistake that Michelle is sitting next to one of the coolest cats around. Luke, what is up? Big question, I know. How are you doing tonight, brother?
Good.
Yeah? Well, I love the hat. I told you earlier.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm really interested in?
What?
That shirt. What is that you got on?
It's a Newfoundland Pony Society shirt.
That's awesome. Where'd you get it?
From the Newfoundland Pony Society in Hope Hall.
Ah, nice one. And so I see that there's a horse on it. Maybe it's the pony you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey? Ah. And what does it say? Newfoundland, postage 5 cents. So that's really nice. Some local artist made that, I guess, did they?
Yeah.
So it makes me want to ask you a couple of questions. And Michelle, maybe I'll turn it over to you first. And then I'm going to hand it back to you, Luke, okay?
Okay.
So you pay attention now to what I'm saying to Michelle, because I got some good questions coming to you.
Okay.
They're going to be easy ones. Don't worry. Michelle,
Hi,
love
Donnie.
the sweater you're wearing.
Thank you.
Love it. And you got a lot in common with your homie Luke here.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the Newfoundland Pony Society, because a lot of folks watching the show tonight may not know what you and Luke know. So why don't you tell me, how long has the Newfoundland Pony Society been around?
Whoa, that's a good question. I think around since in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
In '81, Newfoundland Pony was made a heritage animal, which means, it just means that for 500 years, people brought their ponies on boats from Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and France, and Portugal, wherever. They all bred naturally in the wild, and over the years they developed traits, you know, like forearms that were close together, little furry ears, thick coat. They could live outside all year round on their own. Then when the families needed them to cut wood and pull in fish nets and get seaweed from the beaches, that was the little quad of the early days. Wow. So now, but when the quad and the snowmobile and all kinds of other vehicles got invented, then the ponies were too expensive to have to keep and feed over the winter, and the Newfoundland government made a rule that they weren't allowed to roam freely anymore. So all things combined, all of a sudden the numbers plummeted and they were actually endangered. So we went from having quite a few numbers to down to like 190 at one point was the lowest, and now we have been, I've only been a member of the Newfoundland Pony Society for about 5 years, and I'm this year the chair of our Hope All pasture, which is a very special committee that is trying to educate, promote, and protect the pony. And we have 25 acres out in Hope All, and we really just want people to, they can't really care about something unless they see it up close. And because we don't have any Newfoundland ponies here in the city anymore, Hope All is a nice day trip to get out there. And we are really counting on local support. And one of our biggest supporters this year was a young gentleman who's sitting next to me. Over the last 3 years, I will let him tell you how his journey has progressed, but he has been instrumental in helping us fundraise. We took an old barn, an old facility, and have really turned it into something gorgeous.
Luke, what are you, some miracle worker? What are you, magic?
No.
So what'd you do? Did you walk down the road one day and look into the farm and said, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to make everyone really proud? Like, what happened?
Well, one day, me and Mom was driving back from town.
Yeah.
And then Mom said there was a Newfoundland ponies in there. I said, can I stop in? And we stopped in, and I said I wanted to raise money for the Newfoundland ponies. And I've been doing it for the past 3 years.
Whoa, now how are you doing that?
And me and my dad built a stand.
Yeah.
And it's a canteen.
Yeah.
And me and my dad and Mom sells like chips, bars, pop, candy. And
That's wicked. And the money goes to help with the place in the barn and everything that goes on.
yeah.
We have staff too to pay, and he not only is he going to his own hometown, but tell him all the sporting events you go to.
Yeah.
I'll go to Cavendish Beach Fest.
Yeah.
And Dildo for 1 year.
Yeah.
I went up to the sanctuary.
So we're going to go check around to find out information.
Yeah.
And I wonder where online that we would go. Would we Google Newfoundland
We can go to the
Pony
Newfoundland
Society?
Pony Society, to the website, and you
Yeah.
can also go on Newfoundland Pony Society on Facebook. So
Yeah.
we post pictures of the ponies every day.
Yeah.
We also have, we are still open. If people want to go visit, we still have the mare and her foal. Mare's name is Poppy, and her baby's name is Katie, and they're still there till October 25th.
Okay.
So feel free to go out. We are closed Monday, Tuesday,
Okay.
but we're open Wednesday to Sunday, 10 to 4, and it's really a lovely family activity to just go out and see and touch and just be around these Newfoundland ponies. We have a barn that we helped restore this summer with some of the money that Luke raised.
Boom.
And I don't know, Luke, you haven't even pumped how much money you raised. He didn't raise $50. He didn't raise $100. Over the last 3 years, he's gone from raising $1,000 to $1,200 to this year, $3,038.88.
You're amazing.
I mean, amazing. We were blown away, and we were so proud and so excited to have him on our team. And hopefully, where he's local, you will be involved in Newfoundland Ponies for the rest of your life, don't you think, Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be the mayor of Ponytown yet.
Yes, he is our pony ambassador
I love
and
it.
#1 fundraiser.
Michelle, you are also great.
Thank you,
So I'd like to give you your flowers as well.
Thank
Luke,
you.
Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Talking about the Newfoundland Pony Society, all the good work that you're doing. Put it here. Boom. Bang. Guys, this is Out of the Fog. That was the Newfoundland Pony Society. Please check them out online, support the incredible organization, and give Luke a run for his money. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and am I ever excited for the latest incarnation of this biz boss that I've been so lucky to become friends with over the years, from 2IC of the St. John's Board of Trade, making it happen, and if you know, you know. Then over to Music NL to become the executive director and lead them into a growth phase unmatched in the organization's history. And then peace be with, she said, because now I'm going to go off and run the Atlantic Chamber. It's the one and only Ronda Tulk Lane. What is up?
So happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here.
This is exciting.
And this is a great opportunity because I'm learning so much about it every day. And so I think this is a great chance for you to really lay it bare for all the folks watching across the province and beyond, because there is some important work being done at the Atlantic Chamber. But I'm going to hand it over to you to give us a brief history, and then we'll talk about some of the things that are going on today.
So, Donnie, it's really interesting because I've already told you, and I'm going to tell you again, it's still going to floor you. So how we got our start. The Maritime Board of Trade actually was created in 1896. The Newfoundland Chamber of Commerce decided they should join in with them in the late 70s.
Okay.
Then formed the Atlantic Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
The purpose and my job and what I do every single day is serve 90 chambers of commerce across Atlantic Canada, 19 of them right here at home in Newfoundland and Labrador. So for anyone out there, we have 19 chambers of commerce and boards of trades. Same name, so you can use it interchangeably.
Okay.
Most people are very familiar with the St. John's Board of Trade.
Indeed.
And then the Corner Brook Board of Trade, there's another. So, and then we've got 19. So I say we have a reach to Main Street unlike anyone else.
Wow. I mean, the organization, I mean, you are mother, because you have all the chambers and they are all, not to say under, but working with.
I serve them. So my job is to raise the chambers and boards of trades up, help them, because there's another really key piece. Out of my 90, 40% have no staff.
Huh?
They're all volunteer run by business leaders in the community.
What?
Like you.
Wow.
So hence when you realize that's why they need a support. A lot of smaller rural chambers may not have a staff. So the business community comes together, they form, they do their awards, they do whatever they can do. And then a lot of other chambers have, 1 to 2, 3 staff. Then you have a few, I would say more urban chambers that are very well staffed, but again, they're in the more populated areas because then they get the money from the membership and they can hire. So I've got a real mix when I look across the 90 chambers of how do I help them, how do we serve them, what do they need, and how do we advocate on their behalf.
I mean, Ronda, you have such a rich history in this neck of the woods and in this domain, and supporting and helping and nurturing. I mean, it's just in you to do. What are some of the gifts that you have encountered so far during your time in this role with the Chamber?
So it's been just a little over 9 months. So I would say I'm still very much ears to the ground, really listening to my members, trying to listen and hear what their pain points, and then how do we bring solutions, how do we bring innovation, how do we help support them. So I think the biggest thing for me was learning that 40% have no staff. That's a huge challenge, but an amazing opportunity for me and my team to be there to help support and advocate for them. So one of the things we'll do is board governance training. Critical. When we look across, I would say, the landscape around corporate Canada, not-for-profits, governance is critical. And when you don't have good governance, things can go bad and wrong really fast. We've seen it. We've seen it a lot of the sports organizations.
Absolutely. A lot of organizations, and it's a technician's mindset, right? Because we want to move ahead an initiative or a cause, and we want to roll up our sleeves and get into it. But to your point, long game governance is as protective as it is anything.
Yeah. So that's one area where I noticed immediately a huge gap and an opportunity for us to help train the leaders at the table. Because you may be able to run a business wicked. Right. Doesn't mean you're a good chair.
True.
It's a whole different set of skills.
It is.
So so that's one area, as well advocating. So we've got 4 provincial provinces, and there's a lot of commonalities. So for us this year, our top 3 priorities, you'll know these quite well. I mean, it's the shortage of labor and talent, and finding it critical.
It is, and I can only imagine some of the struggles that are going on with some of your members that are in the more rural, less dense areas where talent is absolutely an issue.
Yep. So the talent and labor is something we're helping and focusing on. The second one is, you'll laugh, I mean, cutting red tape. How long have we been talking about cutting red tape with government?
Well, ever present,
becoming more efficient. So we're still working on that.
Right.
And there's been lots of progress.
Great.
But as well, trying to encourage government and business and labor to work together and look at efficiencies. And the third one is just supporting small businesses, because as you know, you're busy. You're doing everything. So how do we help and what can we do to provide more supports for small businesses?
Wow. Yeah, I bet, you know, X number of months in, ear to the ground, learning, growing, getting the feedback from all the people. What do the many folks who are powering chambers in the less dense, less opportunity rich, shall we say, areas, what do you think they need the most right now? And what should we as people living across the province and across the Atlantic provinces, what are the energies we should be tuning into and the subjects that we should be thinking more about as it pertains to supporting these chambers, which are the ones that allow business to operate and to bloom in the many areas across the province? Am I right?
Yep. I would say the most important thing, if you're listening and you're a business owner out there, go seek out that local chamber. Give them a call. You may think, oh, you know, they don't do anything or they're no value to me. It's a chance for you to step in and provide value and together. Yes. So I think if you're a business owner out there, as well, social enterprise, I mean, there's so many different forms of employers out there, not-for-profit, social enterprise, for-profit. Join your local chamber, make a difference, because they're the ones when we tend to find ourselves in a crisis or a pandemic. These are the industry associations and the organizations that really can make a difference and really roll up their sleeves and start working together to help support the crisis we're in.
Guys, thank you so much. I want to make sure that you check out the Atlantic Chamber, the important work, all of the different communities and regions across the Atlantic provinces all have these amazing groups of passionate people who are working hard every day to make change better for you, for them, and for the region that be. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and I mean, there's some cool people out there, and they're doing some cool things. But then you can meet people who are doing TV shows, radio shows, podcasts, writing books, traveling the world, teaching the future, and then maybe having a nap on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know if you make time for that or not. Mike Wahl, what are you at?
That's good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, Mike, we're gathered here today to celebrate the latest triumph. Last Thursday night, we all gathered at the Munn Faculty of Medicine to watch a little sneak peek of a show that ended up coming out that Sunday, and Health Explored Season 3.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Whoa.
a labor of love, and it's so rewarding / the most nerve-wracking evening of the year because you're putting it all out there and hoping people like it. And that's why you invite your friends, so that you've got a friendly audience for it. But yeah, I mean, you filmed the show for like 8 months, so we started filming last November,
right.
And now it's coming out like 11 months later, and yeah, we're excited to share it with people because there's a lot of lessons in there. Even though the places we're going are like really exotic, the lessons that we learned are all things that are relevant to people back home.
Yes, absolutely. And so the journey for the folks at home who may not know, Mike, you know, a life lived in academia and entrepreneurialism, all focused around wellness and the study of wellness and helping folks. And did you dream when you began your journey in personal training that you would end up where you are now as a doctor who has traveled the world and has helped so many people in so many different media formats to understand and explore health truly in all its facets?
So it's interesting though, because I came from, my mother was a teacher. And so teaching was always part of what I did, right? Like, so if you're in gym taking somebody through exercises when you're 21 years old, you're teaching people, right? And in my corporate world, I was teaching people. So everything I've always done is teaching people, but my mom also said that the life is like a braided river, right? So it sort of changes paths throughout the time, but it always leads to the same place, and there's all these different currents you have to go through and different obstacles, but that's sort of the way it's been. The one consistent through line has been health. Right, and health and wellness, and trying to understand it, not only for the people I'm working with, but for myself. Like, I think we all get to a point where we're supposed to know what we're talking about, and then you really have this real imposter syndrome. You're like, I don't know if I'm actually understanding this. And about health, you can never fully understand it. So as my life has changed, I've tried to navigate it differently and then interpret it and then share those messages, because I feel like there's a lot of messages that we're missing in health in our communities.
Well, I believe it 100%, and I mean, my learning has been so vast just through listening to your radio show and the TV show and the beautiful places and the people that you meet and the things that you're learning from them. That you won't find anywhere else. What have been some of the most exciting and rewarding people and experiences that you've had while filming the latest season?
I think it's the aha moments of the simplicity of it all, right? It's interesting. I had one time in Morocco when I was having a random conversation with somebody and I was kind of rushing around. We're trying to film, we're trying to hit checklists. We have a lot of pressure on us, but I'm still trying to be in the moment, still trying to enjoy it. And Buddy was like, if you're in a rush, you're already dead. And I was like, whoa, okay, like that's pretty good. And then we went to the desert where there was no cell phones. We were on a camel going super slow for hours and hours in the beating heat. And I was like, wow, I really can't be in a rush. And it was a really cool forced meditation. There was an aha moment like that. That was a really, really big one for me. And then another one that really stuck with me was in Norway. They're wildly active. Like if you go to a restaurant at night, you can be in the nicest restaurant in the city. They're not wearing suits, they're wearing Gore-Tex because they've just finished climbing a mountain and then they came to dinner. And I'm not kidding. Like they have a concept called Frulisliv. And my whole life has been about like, how do you train perfectly? What's your reps, your calories, the heart rate zone? And what they say is you just got to play. If you're not enjoying yourself, you're not going to do it. And it's not bad weather, it's just bad clothing. And all these little simplicities, they uncomplicate everything. And everybody I've learned from this year, and whether it be the 100-year-olds in Costa Rica that just think that the most simple food can offer so much health because it brings people around a table, it's always the simplest messages. And I realize that all this science, all this stuff I learned, sort of overcomplicates it sometimes,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I will say, the episodes, the teasers and the full episode that we had seen, so beautiful, so incredible. And this is our moment to really turn it over to, give kudos to Braden, who has been by your side through this journey. What do you have to say about having a wingman with a camera and a quality eye that he has?
Yeah, it's incredible. I've known Braden King since he was a kid, right? And I've sort of watched his whole career. He did our first teaser for our show on VOCM, which is now on Stingray Podcast Network. Yeah, he did our first teaser. And then he was a professional engineer who was contemplating being artistic and really going into his craft. And so, he's been with me since the beginning. We've worked really closely as a team, to create this product. And it's evolved. And that's why people watching it every year, they'll see it changes, the recipe changes. But he does incredible work. And we've traveled all around the world together. And it's been really curious to see his perspective, because he has a unique one too. He's very healthy, very, very healthy, very fit, but at the same time, I see him learning, and I wonder at the end of the day, when all this is said and done, how this is going to change his health, because he's probably going to be way better off than all of us who learned it at 40, 45 years old. He's learning it in his early 20s, so I'm a little jealous, but he's incredible, he's wildly talented, and I'm really, really happy to have him on my team.
Oh my God, you guys are a dream team. And so Braden, we're throwing you the love. You are fantastic, and I've had the pleasure of working with him on projects as well, and you guys together. So let's talk about the next installment of how you're taking everything that you're doing around the world and bringing it home for the people.
This was one of the most rewarding and fun things that I've ever done, and it's a book by Breakwater Books. When I came home from the trip, I was keeping a journal, right? And my father had given me a journal. He used to have a journal, and my father passed away, and one of the things I wanted to do was really pay attention to the moments when I was there. And I started writing things, and when we do a TV show or we're doing radio episodes about the topics, you still have to stick to educating people about the key things. But there's things that I was getting out of it that I didn't have time to translate in those media sources, which are all about visual, really, right? So I wrote them down. I sent a couple copies to our friend Rebecca Rose at Breakwater Books, and they're incredible, wildly supportive. They ran with the idea. Braden had photos because when the cameras were done filming, he would be snapping photos because he's a talented photographer. And we combined our two passions and what we learned and what he saw and what I felt together into this book. And so the book is it's about 140 pages long. It's a coffee table book with beautiful photos, but it's digestible, small stories, about 8 pages long, about what I learned in Morocco or what I learned in Costa Rica, Pura Vida lifestyle, or purpose in Okinawa, and all these little things. And then it comes with action items. So it's almost like a self-help book. And then I interpret the messages from our guide. So you can read an entertaining story, see some beautiful photos, take some action items that will apply to our lives back here at home, and then hear the words of wisdom that were given to me that I'm simply translating to others. So, all of it is just my interpretation of brilliant people I met. I'm so fortunate to know them.
Man, I'll tell you what is interesting is to have someone who accomplished and experienced so much as you had, the awards for business you've won, the journey through academia and doing what you do, teaching at the university, and all of this. I mean, what a legacy, bro, that you are creating. And for everyone around you, not for you. It's never about you. Every time anyone asks you about any of this, it's all for the people in our province and our future wellness. It's a pretty noble motive.
Well, I mean, I think you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. Me and you are best friends, you know, for anybody listening. And Don-E married my wife for her wedding. We've known each other forever, and, you know, we've been spending lots of times working late at night, working on our passion projects and doing things. I think that's important, but I also think that the province is so supportive, right? It's the community that's giving the opportunities. You don't have a book unless somebody gives you that shot. NTV has given us the show there. VOCM and Stingray have pushed us across the country. It's our community that supports it, right? And the work with the Health Accord and looking at well-being and our initiatives to say, look, we might have the worst health in the country, but we're trying to become one of the healthiest provinces, and to see that initiative. And then lastly, the people that are watching it. We wouldn't have a show if people didn't consume it, and so they are, and that makes me feel really, really good. So why wouldn't you go as hard as you can and try and do all these things, because ultimately it's being appreciated.
You're doing something pretty rare and remarkable and multi-pronged, and I'm just speaking for us all that we're just pumped to see where it goes next.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The last thing I didn't say, I think this is the most important thing. Our medical school allows this all to happen. Okay, so the work I do teaching with the students, which is wildly rewarding to teach the next generation of physicians. I'm a PhD, not a physician, but I work with them, and when I'm not in the classroom, they let me go do this stuff. So I think that they deserve a huge kudos, MUN in general, for allowing us to do this and tell these stories and fully support it. So we'll see where it goes next, but you know, with support, you can do pretty much anything.
Will you come back when season 4, 5, and 6 debut?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll probably have a few more gray hairs.
Boss, this is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back to wrap after this break. Well, guys, what can I tell you? What a wicked night we had on the couch here at Out of the Fog. Thank you so much to Roger's staff, the volunteers who make it all happen. Thank you so much to Luke and Michelle from the Newfoundland Pony Society. Thank you so much to Ronda, Tulk, Lane. You continue to inspire us in all that you do to lead everything forward. And of course, Dr. Mike Wahl, Health Explored, and everything he is doing to help us make sense of this crazy world of health right here at home in so many ways. So follow all these incredible cats to see what they're doing to help make our lives better here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And until next time, when you come hang out with us, this is Out of the Fog, and we'll see you next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
I am a wild robot.
Be the first to watch the Wild Robot movie at
Home.
Amazing!
Amazing.
From the studio that brought you How to Train Your Dragon.
He needs to swim and fly.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me.
Swim!
That's drowning.
The Wild Robot.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you, perform?
Yes.
Do you travel for work?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
This fall on Rogers TV, we'll be airing your RNC Compassionate